Hello everyone, James from Junkyard. Thank you so much for joining me. As you saw previously, we did catch ourselves a good sized carp in the river. Now when it comes to fish from streams and rivers, a lot of people are going to automatically prefer animals like bass or trout. And although I gotta say I do prefer those to eat myself as well, carp is extremely underrated. I think carp is an animal that in the Western world we view as a trash fish because it's a bottom feeder and this and that, and it has a reputation of tasting terrible. Truth be told, guys, a lot of the world loves this animal. In fact, settlers and immigrants from the other side of the world that came to the Americas actually brought them with them, to stock up in lakes and stuff because they love them so much. So, once again, we're going to cook this guy up, and we're going to go very primitive today. We're just going to make a very hot fire, give it a good bed of coals, and we're just going to cook them right on those coals. So no cast iron pan, none of that stuff. We're just going to cook them right on there, and as you can tell, we're going to have ourselves a large meal. So thank you for joining me. Let's get started. Before we commence on gutting the animal and cooking it, we're going to get a fire started in the meantime because we want to get that very nice hot bed of coals for it because we're going to lay the fish right on those coals. So let's get started with that. The good old-fashioned fire rod method. Now it has been raining recently, so it might be a little wet, but not too bad. All right, so let's get that nice and hot. And we got our fish. All right, guys, now first things first, of course, is you want to make sure the animal is in fact dead already. So he was still alive, so I did bop him in the head. Of course, you get a club and you just hit him hard in the head. I didn't record that out of respect for the animal, but you get the point. So he's already freshly killed. Okay, now our fire is burning up nice and hot. If you have hardwoods, anything like that, any hardwood that's going to burn up and leave a nice bed of coals, go ahead and utilize that. Now, the problem with carp that I personally don't like cooking them too often is that they have hard scales. They basically have armor, and to fillet them, you're going to need to use pliers and this and that, and I don't like doing that. I think that it's too time consuming. So what I like doing is I'm just going to cut it open, remove the entrails, of course, give them a rinse, and then we're going to cook them right on the coals, and its armor is going to basically act as a pan. So the coals are touching the armor, the scales, and the inside the meat's going to be cooking. So it's time to go ahead and gut this guy out. So I don't have a cutting board on me right now, so I'm just going to improvise and do it on the ground and be very careful. Okay, so I rinsed his belly out because we're going to cut from the vent upwards, and today we're going to be using the Morakansbol, which is a very thin knife, and I just sharpened it, so it's going to be cutting up pretty good. All right, so let's get to slowly cutting up. Now we want to be careful. We don't want to, puncture any of the entrails. So we're going to go nice and slow. Use the spine of the knife, kind of get some of those scales off. Okay, so time to get all this stuff out, all the intestines, the air sac, all this stuff. Just it's the air sac right there. The guts, all that stuff. By the way, if you're still going to be fishing, all these guts are worth their weight in gold because you can get a lot of like catfish and stuff like that using these things as bait. So they're still useful. It's still definitely useful. Now we're no longer fishing because we're shooting this video, of course, but if I wasn't, I would save this, cut it into chunks, and you could use all this stuff, or at least throw it in the water to attract catfish to your region, to the place where you're fishing. Alright, so I went ahead and removed most of the guts already and the lungs. I just ripped off the lungs with my fingers. And now I'm just giving them a rinse and getting most of that residue out. Mainly the blood, whatever little pieces of tissue and guts are left in there. Now, if you have a spoon, this really helps out for that. Now, I do not have a spoon, unfortunately, so I'm just going to rough it out and, just work a little harder. But you get the point. Most of this is ready to go. And he's almost ready to start cooking. So just gonna rinse them out just a little bit more, get some of that slime off, because carp is very slimy. But we're almost done. Coals are almost ready. In the meantime, guys, we're gonna just season this guy. Now, there's gonna be some smart Alex out there that are gonna say, you know, if it's survival, why are you gonna have spices? Well, if you're someone like me who's always outside, I always have spices in my truck, because sooner or later we're gonna catch something and we're gonna eat it, and we like flavor because we like to enjoy life. So don't be a smart Aleck. If you got it, use it. So I have some salt. Open that up. And once again, we don't have a plate or a cutting board, so we're improvising with this rock. Got some cayenne. And it's just some black pepper. All right, so just simple, but basically pepper, salt, and cayenne is all you need, at least for me, for my tastes. And yeah, he's almost ready to get on the fire. We don't want to burn them, so let me move this that's burning out of the way. All right, so we just turned them. It's been about 10 minutes, and as you can tell, the coals are very hot. They already burnt through the scales. So we succeeded a little too much when it comes to getting that hot bed of coals. So now we're just gonna be a little bit more careful. All this is still good enough. It's still cooking. We're just being a little bit more careful and not leaving it in the same place for too long. All right, folks, so what we did is we went ahead and got a flat stone and placed him on there so he wouldn't burn so fast. Now, once again, these coals are extremely hot. You can hear it cooking. Now, we just got a little bit overzealous with the coals because it's been raining on and off all day, so we figured, you know, it might be giving us some trouble with the fire while we're, you know, gutting the fish elsewhere. So we got the fire really hot, but we succeeded with that a little too well. So we're just going to place him on this rock so we can cook on there. Now, it's still hot. It's still very hot right here. So all this is cooking. In fact, you can already see all this being able to be removed. So yeah, it's getting there. All right, folks, so we've been turning him for about 25 to 30 minutes. I'd say he's just about ready. So we're gonna bring him, and he's hot, and place him over here on this rock. And look at that, all this just removes right off, all the hard stuff, and he's about ready to eat. So taste. Pretty decent. Now, it's not my favorite fish. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's catfish. If I'm gonna be catching something, it's gonna be catfish. But other than that, as you can tell, he's white and flaky. A little bit is burnt, but he's just about ready. Let's turn around this side right here. And there we go. And it's pretty decent. And it's a pretty large meal, as you can tell. The only problem with this animal is there's just a lot of spines on them. Some are large, some are very small, and you gotta just watch out. So if you're gonna be eating this guy, take your time. Don't be eating fast, and then you have the risk of choking or cutting your mouth or something. So take your time. But look at that. That is a large fish. Just remove all the skin. And I feel like, did you guys ever play the video game Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater? You play as Big Boss, living in the jungle. That's awesome. Yeah. all the meat on here. Now, it's really not a bad fish. It has a big reputation. A lot of people are going to tell you that it's a trash fish that tastes like mud or something like that, and it's really not. I think those claims are highly exaggerated, mostly by people that had never tasted it in their lives. So go ahead and give it a try. If anything, it's a little bit of a bland fish, so I would definitely suggest some spices. I think butter on this bad boy would go so good, but it's a pretty damn good fish, and as you can tell, it grows quite large. And carp, guys, it's abundant. They're everywhere. All you got to do is, put some corn on your hook, throw it out there, and you can catch one. And like I said, they can grow quite large. This is going to be a large meal for me. So we're going to go ahead and enjoy this. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and comment below on how would you like to see us cook up a carp next time. And we better hurry on up, though. As you can tell, we have some storms coming, so we're going to enjoy this and then get on out of here. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week. Now go outside and get your boots dirty.